Youngstown's very own Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
Ba-boom, here we go. Hey, hi, I'm Ray Mancini. Welcome to another round of the Boom Boom Room. Here with my corner man, cut man, everyday man, Mike Case.
We do it all.
And we got a special guest today, my friend Dalton, UFC fighter. But we're going to let him talk and tell us about his journey into the UFC. And Mike does it better than anybody. Mike, you do the best interviews. No,
Well,
okay,
you know.
okay, then you do
My
that.
job.
I'm not
My
gonna.
job.
My job is to set up. I'm
You
the setup
react.
guy. I
You
react.
I'll ask a couple of questions and you just take it, man.
But before we go there, I want to talk a little bit about this week's fight on Fox, which a lot of people know that I'm working with Fox, PBC on Fox. We had the main event Saturday night. Sean Porter from Akron won a split decision over Yordenis Ugas of Cuba, who's fighting out of Miami now. And I was there, and they came to me after the fight, and during the fight we were talking about it. I was there. We had Keith Thurman was our in studio guest with me this weekend, and he's very good friends with Sean. They fought each other. Keith won a decision over him, but they asked me what I thought. Ray, did you think Sean won? And I said no. I didn't think he won, and that's why they got me, because I'm going to tell you. I think if you won or you lost, or if you stink to join out or what, I'm going to call you out on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tap dance. Now, they also asked my friend Joe Goose in that ringside, who did the ringside commentary with my friend Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis was there.
So they did it, and they were, Mike made the point because Lennox had a
was wearing a
blanket on him.
Burberry blanket
Well,
or
it was an
something.
outdoor fight. Well,
It
it's
was
50
freezing
degrees.
cold in California
Well,
for
50
them.
degrees. It's
Yeah,
cold
for them, they acted like it was the
but if you're
Arctic.
but if you're in the ring, it's actually warm because the lights and everything. You're fighting under lights. It's very comfortable for the fighters. But the ringside guys, Lennox and Joe. Joe had gloves on. Lennox had a blanket. I mean, come on, you guys. Quit the
babies.
sissification of the fight game with these guys at ringside.
So
doing that.
I'll set it up for you. It goes the distance.
Right.
Sean Porter, as you said, fights a little uglier. He doesn't
No.
stand back and punch. He likes to get inside and punch.
That's effective of his game, though, Mike.
And
make it
that's
an
what he
ugly
does.
fight. Yeah, make
and
it an
if you
ugly
look
fight.
at the stats, he threw more punches.
Yeah.
Landed more punches. But as the fight wore on, it looked like Ugas got the better of it. But the cards were very close. And then you get to the judges, and one guy wins by 6, or then the other guy wins by 6, and then it comes down to the final judge.
But
and
here's the
that's what
thing, though.
happens.
Well, you just said it. Sean, I always said Sean's effectiveness, and I'm sure you understand this, the guy's UFC. Sean wins ugly or he loses ugly, but it's always an ugly fight with him. He mauls you, he's strong, he's always in great shape. Look, let me clarify this, rectify this, and specify this, because this guy, people ask me, I love Sean Porter. Not only is he a terrific for the game, he's just a terrific human being. He's the type of kid you want your daughter to meet. He's from Akron, so he's a whole Ohio boy, so I love that about him. He's a blue chip athlete. He was a D1 athlete for football. Everything. He's everything good. He never cheats the fans. Always gives them an honest day's work. But he did not win this fight, in my view. Now, if you go by what Mike just said, the punch stats, he landed more punches, threw more. But then I would say, and people will say, well, Ray, you always say it, and I do. The bottom line in boxing, hit the other man more than he hits you.
Okay.
Just hit the other man more. That's the bottom line. I don't care how many percentages mean nothing. Throw a punch, but as long as I hit you more than you hit me. And if that's the case, and they say Sean did, then he should win the fight. But I don't agree in this respect. Sean fought a non-typical Sean fight. He started boxing. He said he wanted to show he can box. Why? Ugas is a strong guy, stays in a pocket. He's a non-typical Cuban fighter, Ugas is. He stays with his hands in a pocket. He's not flashy. Not depending on boxing, depending on counter punching and punching power. Ugas can fight. I thought Ugas landed more punches. Obviously, the punch stats say differently. I would argue what punch they counted.
Okay.
And I'm sure in your sport you argue with what's an effective punch. Second of all, I also disagree. Sean was moving. You could say he was boxing, but he was moving. He's not. And there's a thing called effective aggression, and there's also called ring generalship. Those are the two things I look for when I'm scoring a fight. Ugas was controlling center ring. Sean was moving, not he started out moving because he wanted to, and then he tried to stop, come in. And Ugas was ending the throwing combination. They stand there and have a bit of a flurry. Ugas was ending the flurries with the punch, and he was ending. So Sean was pushing Sean back. Sean was moving back, not because he wanted to, because he had to. So I thought Ugas landed more effective punching. And so he was controlling the center ring, more effective punching. Even though he was aggressive, Sean was moving. He was the effective aggressor. So all those count into, for me, he won the fight. Sean won. God bless him. It was a close fight. Like I said, Ugas could have made it easy for him. He didn't, because he didn't, when Sean's moving, I always tell guys, when a guy's moving, just throw a jab out. Even if you don't hit him, it don't matter. It looks good to the judges. It looks like who's trying to make a fight happen. When one guy's moving, the guys chase him, it looks many times to the judge that who's following the other guy. It's what Angelo Dundee used to say, ring around the rosy. You're following the guy. You still
Because he was tracking him.
And he
like
was
he was walking towards
walking him down.
Porter the whole
walking
fight.
him down. But you got to make it. But if you'd have stuck the jab out, just throw it out there. In the beginning, it was like jabbing to the body, which is a good offensive defensive move. It's kind of, there you are. I'm finding you. It's my range. I'm finding my range. So if I tap a guy in the body, okay, that's my range. I know where he's at. Then he stopped doing that. And also, it's good. You take the. You jab a guy in the body, little by little. You take the wind out of him. Jabbing him down. Hit him with them shots, body shots. So anyhow, here's the rub on that. So it was a little bit of a belly who that I said Sean lost. I said I thought him boxing was a bad decision. I didn't think it was smart for him to box like he did, and he won the decision. Great, okay. Here's the rub on that. He's going to be my partner this whole week.
Sean is
when we go down. I'm leaving tomorrow for the Garcia-Spence fight this weekend, pay-per-view fight on Fox pay-per-view. Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence down at Dallas Stadium. And Sean's going to be my partner in the studio. Like last week was Keith Thurman. Before that, it was Caleb Plant. Before that, it was Danny Garcia. So each week they get one of the fighters from PBC. This week it's going to be Sean. And I love Sean. He's a friend of mine. I think we're friends. Maybe after last weekend we may not be. But I think he can appreciate my honesty. I'm not going to tap dance. He's a terrific fighter. He's terrific for the game. Like I said, he's everything good about the game. I just didn't think he won this fight.
I'm going to ask you two questions, and I want you to weigh in on the second one. Okay. First one, because you didn't see the fight. And you're going to sit right next to him now.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll admit to you that he felt like he won or lost? Honestly, because at the end of the fight, like we saw, it kind of looked like he said to himself, I don't think I won this fight.
Mike,
and maybe I got it wrong.
No, you didn't. Same thing.
You see the same thing?
Don't you understand?
And I'm going to ask
the
another
fight was
question
ended,
for you here in a second.
The other guy put up his hands, and Sean looked at him and went,
just nodded.
Nodded his head. He didn't put his hands up either.
No.
Right as soon as the fight, Ugas put his hands up. Like, well, a lot of guys is bull crap anyway, but he did it, and Sean just looked at him and nodded. Like, recognition, acknowledged that, yeah, you won.
Or all right, big guy with your hands up.
Good fight. Good fight. Yeah, you can
One of
say
the
that.
two.
I get it.
Will he admit it to you? Are you close
No,
enough?
and if he's smart, he won't.
Okay,
If
I'm
he's
just
smart,
checking.
look, he's gonna say no. I was saying, acknowledge that he did a good fight. He's not gonna say last fight.
All right, here's my next question, and you can weigh in on this. If you are the title holder, does the other person have to beat you to get the belt? Do you know what I'm saying? You can't just
You hear that all the time,
because judges are human.
And you hear it all the time. They say you got to really take it from the champion.
Yeah.
And I say yes and no. No, you don't. All you do is beat the other man. Beat him clearly, but you got. But well, look, I was
rules
in
say
every
that.
other sport.
The rules
every
say
other
that.
sport, baseball, basketball, football.
You win by 1 or 40.
When
you
you
win.
Tim, and if you're playing in the hometown or the stadium, whoever's the home team, they don't get a run advantage. They don't get a touchdown advantage, or a basket advantage. You got to beat them. Same thing in boxing. He's the champion. If I beat you, I beat you. Now they say if it's a close fight, and it's hard to, then you could go lean towards champion because you didn't do enough to clearly win the fight.
Yes.
I'm saying clearly win the fight. Those are the times if it's a real close fight, you go, geez, man, I was nip and tuck. You go, yeah, okay. You give it to the champion. Yeah, he didn't do enough to clearly win.
He didn't lose.
He didn't lose the fight.
Right.
He didn't clearly win it,
Right.
but he didn't lose it.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
You know what
Ray.
I'm asking, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with Ray. Whenever it's an up in the air decision, I mean, you got to lean towards the champion, but I do believe you have to leave no doubt whenever you're
So
fighting
you
the
got to
champion.
beat him. If you're fighting the champ, you got to
Yeah,
beat him.
I
in
mean,
your
a
opinion.
lot of the time, at least in MMA, I watch boxing a lot. I'm a fan of Anthony Joshua. I'm looking forward to Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight
If it happens.
if it happens. But for example, leaning towards like MMA, there's been multiple times where I've watched fights and the champion just goes in there trying to not lose. And there's a difference between
right.
going in there to win and going in there to not lose.
Yes.
Right.
One, you're in survival mode. The other one, you're actually going in there trying to do what you're there to do in the first place, to try and dominate your opponent. And I've seen it time and time again where UFC champions have went in there and just went in survival mode. They just did enough to where they didn't lose. And at that point, I think no, you shouldn't lean towards the champion at that point. If he got beat and he's showing, like, if he's backing up the entire fight, like his back's towards the cage, the other person's controlling the center, the fight statistics might be somewhat similar, and they might compare to each other, whether how close it is. But you got to look at like the small details during the fight. Like I said, if the champion's backing up, he has his back against the cage. The other person's controlling the fight, whether it be on the ground, against the cage, just controlling the ring, controlling the pace, dictating when and where the fight goes. And then at that point, if it's still close, I don't think you give it to the champion, because he didn't win that fight. He was going out there in survival mode. One person that comes to mind immediately when I think about that is Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, you always see him with his back against the cage, always. In every single fight, and he's been the champion. He's had several title defenses. He just lost it 2 weeks ago to Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is the only person that actually went out there and completely dominated him. Completely dominated him. So there was no doubt. He left no doubt that he beat Tyron Woodley. And if they would have gave it to Tyron Woodley, it would have made MMA a laughingstock.
Well, see,
Nobody would have watched it anymore.
It's funny you say about how he goes with, that's a lot of guys, but they want you. They want you to come. They set traps for you, like in boxing. They want you to come at them. Some guys are boxers and they're counter punchers. So they set the traps and try to make you, and their backs on the ropes a lot. And this time you're seeing backs on the cage. But they win because they counter, they set the traps, and a lot of these guys fall into these traps and they catch them. I don't know if maybe Woodley's like that or not, but like you said, you've never seen a guy win more fights with his back on the ropes or back on the fence, right? I mean, that's the style, obviously,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're going to do that, land more punches.
Yeah. No, you got
Get more
to.
takedowns. Actually show that you won the fight. If it's this close, if it's neck and neck, and you were backed up the entire time, and your opponent, whether you're the champion or not, your opponent was controlling the pace of the fight and controlling the center, he won that fight.
Yeah,
I don't care
absolutely.
how close the statistics are. He
But
won the fight.
champs get the benefit of the
Yeah,
doubt. Like
like-
LeBron
Usually.
gets calls.
Usually.
Champs get the benefit of the
Usually.
doubt. Good hitters get
Yeah.
balls on them instead of
Right.
strikes. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just human nature.
Yeah,
Right.
like Tyron Woodley, like I said, he's a perfect example to go to with this. Taking away or going away from the Kamaru Usman fight. If you watch his fights with Stephen Thompson, Wonderboy Thompson, he had 2 fights with him. First one was a draw, which wasn't a draw. He lost. Tyron Woodley lost. They called it a draw. Only reason they called it a draw is because he was a champion, but he got beat.
That's what I mean.
Stephen Thompson landed more punches, more strikes, had him backed up the entire time, had him running, controlled the
on the ground.
pace,
Controlled him on the ground.
and it actually didn't go to the ground.
Oh, okay.
The second fight, Stephen Thompson won the first 4 rounds, controlled the pace, landed, and there was barely any strikes thrown this entire time. It was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen in my entire life, but he controlled the pace. He had Tyron Woodley backed up against the cage. Tyron Woodley was only throwing 1 punch at a time. It was overhand right. It was missing every time. Stephen Thompson, he was only landing a couple strikes here and there, but he was still landing.
Right.
He was landing more. He was landing more often. He was throwing more often. And he was controlling the pace. Now, in the 5th round, Tyron Woodley landed 1 overhand right, knocked him down. They gave the fight to Tyron Woodley. But he lost the 4 rounds before that. The refs, because of how close it was, they let that 1 knockdown in the 5th round change their decision for
Swayed.
the entire fight. So they might have had it written down 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, 10-9 for the first 4 rounds. And then Tyron Woodley might have won the last round 10-8 because of the knockdown. On the scorecards, Tyron Woodley, if you add all that up, he's still losing.
Right.
But since he got the knockdown, now you have them going back and changing all
Can you
their-
do that? Can you change your 10-9 to a
No,
9-10?
well, no.
Or do you have to turn them in as you go?
You turn them in. In,
Oh, you do?
in boxing, you do. I don't know about. I'm assuming
I'm not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
a judge, but
Yeah, boxing, you have to. They pass it to every. Yeah, after Roger Kazoo, you can't do that.
Okay.
You know, and that's funny. But he's right. You know, Mike. That's what we're talking about. Who controls the fight? Like you said, who's controlling? That's what we're talking about. The two. There's many different ways to look at judging a fight, and they give you the criteria for judging a fight. 5, 6 major things. The two main ones I always say is aggression, but effective aggression. If you come forward and I'm smacking you, you know, and effective aggression. Effective aggression, ring generalship. Ring generalship means that meaning you're controlling the pace, you're controlling the fight. I'm dictating what's going on in there, and that's pretty much. But and that's pretty much what I thought Ugas was doing. Sean Porter was trying to do things, but it wasn't effective. Now he jumped in with his punches quick. He's got faster hands, but Ugas always ended up with the last punch, stick out the jab or hit him with the last punch and knock him back. In a judge's eyes, that's what they look for, things like that. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty clear. And like I said, I love Sean Porter. He's everything good about boxing, man. He's just a great kid. But most fighters know, and I was saying, you know what I'm saying. Fighters know. You know when you win, and you know when you lose.
Let me ask you
It
this.
might not happen his night, but he didn't win that fight.
Although you didn't think he won, were you surprised that he officially won? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Were you surprised the decision came out the way it was?
Yeah,
Even though you knew, or in your mind, he lost,
Yeah.
are you surprised that he won?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
yeah,
asking?
Yeah, but Mike, I always tell people like this, and I'm not. It's just the nature of the beast. It's called show business for a reason. Business comes on for the show. You got to understand. Show means more to the UFC, to
That's
the
my
boxing.
Yeah.
It means more to PBC. Means more to than Ugas does. You're on the script.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I
kinda
mean?
like- yeah.
Like you sometimes
Like-
you know the guy lost, but you're like, they're not going to do it.
Like
they're not
perfect
going to make
example of
call.
that that's really controversial, and everybody's still probably debating it to this day. I hear it a lot. I know I do still. Every time I go in the boxing gym, Triple G versus Canelo.
No, the first fight, Triple G clearly won the fight.
Yeah.
Second fight was closer, but he won that one also.
Yeah,
They said,
that's
"Oh,
what-
he made it closer. He made it closer, but doesn't mean he won." And
Yeah,
the fact
but
that
that's what
but
that's
the first
what,
fight,
I guess the same question.
yes, yeah,
Even though Triple G won, are you surprised that on the scorecards at the end of the fight that he didn't?
of course. But two judges, the one judge, yes, the one judge had it a draw, which come on, man, stupid. The one judge had him way ahead, but the other judge, and she's been known for doing business. She had Triple G. She had 118, 110. She gave 2 rounds of Triple G. That's it. I mean, that was the thing. She was so absurd. She got suspended. She'll never, you know. But she's been known for doing business. But I don't blame anybody but Tom Loeffler and Ronnie DiNicola. They're his managers. Tommy's a friend of mine, and Ronnie's a very good friend of mine. You're supposed to watch out. Part of the thing is we believe so much in our guy. We don't need to worry about the judges because our guy's going to take him out, whatever. I truly believe they let their guard down to let I'll think of her name in a minute. Adelaide Bird was her name. Judge the fight. She's known for doing business, and she made it 8 rounds, 10-2. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. So that's why she got suspended. But you always got to know who's going to judge. And my manager was, usually when you do with the commission, you'll talk about who's going to judge the fight, and you give us 3, we'll give you 3, and then we kind of
Sort it out.
cross this, that, cross that. Yeah, but I was surprised, and so I don't blame anybody but them for that particular fight. They were so confident, but they didn't think a word about the judges, and obviously it cost them.
See, my opinion on that, the way I look at it is like immediately. Like I'm a Canelo Alvarez fan, but like when I was watching that fight, I'm like, wow, he lost, Triple G won,
Right.
And then but I was thinking, I'm like, with how things have gone in the past, like did he really win? So I'm thinking, and even though I'm a Canelo fan, I'm like, Canelo lost, but at the same time, like at this point,
Could he get
I
the
know,
decision?
yeah, at this point, I know
Is it
he
possible?
lost,
Right.
But it's like, all right, what are the judges going to do? Now all I'm worried about is how the judges are seeing it. But I know that he lost.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's that's the nature of the beast, and this that's it. So again, going back to this weekend, I'll be sitting next to Sean, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, I would say so.
That should be interesting. But look, like I said, and we'll see how he handles it. One thing I've said, my father used to tell me this all the time, because I was the kid they were praising, and then all of a sudden they used to, boom, taking shots at me. Like, oh man, that hurts. And I used to get upset. Like my father told me, he said, Raymond, he said, if you're going to take the good, you better accept the bad. It's a package deal. He said, my advice, don't believe any of it. And he said, these guys got a job too. Let them do their job. And I learned that. And I've stayed friends. I was friends with a lot of these guys. And I said, oh, my God, you have my buddy. And then you're ripping me. They got a job. And as I'm older, of course, it wasn't the easiest to do at that time. So I'm telling you this now. So if you see when you become friends with a lot of these reporters, and all of a sudden you go, oh, man, this must be my friend. And he's giving me a shot here and there. They got a job to do. And to do a job accurately and correctly, and Mike being a newscaster and everything, you got to do objectively. I love you, but you didn't win that fight.
Well, you're on to deliver your opinion.
Right.
And,
and that's what exactly.
That's your opinion.
I don't think.
Sorry.
I don't.
You don't think he's a jerk.
No.
You root for the guy.
Fox.
You didn't
Yes,
want.
I root for. I am a fan of Sean.
Sure.
I am a fan, and it's funny because Fox, when they hired me, they say we hire you because you speak your mind. I try to not to be over the top of it. I just to speak it honestly, and that's what I thought. So, anyhow. But again, the fight this weekend is going to be another terrific fight. So I'm going to give it a plug. PBC pay-per-view. Pay-per-view on Fox. Fox has their own pay-per-view platform. So you go. You want to see this fight. Two undefeated guys. Mikey Garcia, 39-0, fighting Errol Spence. Errol's called the truth because by all indications, he's the best. These are two of the top 4 pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Errol Spence is 24-0 with 21 knockouts. He's the bigger man. Mikey's moving up not 1 but 2 weight classes to fight him. 2 weight, and nobody hasn't done that in years. I can't tell you how much I admire Mike Garcia, but he says he's challenging greatness. Can't get it. Gotta love that. And he sees something in Errol Spence, but who everyone says is the best, he's calling out the best. He says to beat him, to be the best, you got to fight the best, beat the best. He said, but I see something in there I can exploit and I can use to my advantage. So anyhow, Saturday night out of Dallas Stadium in Texas. I'll be leaving tomorrow to go down there, and I'll be sitting with my friend Sean Porter during that fight.
Friend for today.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Hey, before we introduce Dalton, I want to remind you we're at the lovely Avalon Inn and Resort. We just got back from the Detroit Golf Show, and people, even though they were in Michigan and we're in Ohio, and those two states don't get along very well, they rave about the place. They loved it, and I'm hoping that people that are watching come out. We have great packages for golf trips, and we have a girls package. We have a girls package. If ladies want to get their friends together, that starts at $299, and we take care of you and put you in beautiful hotel rooms and feed you dinner and take you shopping and all that great stuff.
And Mike, for the couples back in Youngstown, forget it. Valentine's Day's over. And
right.
If you need a week, I'm seeing this. A lot of couples need to spend time because you got kids. You need a weekend away. You're far enough but close enough. Just Avalon Inn. You feel like you're, like you said, a country club setting, but you're close enough to Youngstown. If you run home, but hopefully you won't, take your lady out. Get reacquainted with your lady. Reconnect with each other. It's very important in relationships and marriages or any relationship. Reconnect with your lady. Don't take her for granted because we often do. And show her you appreciate her by taking her for a weekend to the Avalon, because they got to have some packages. They got to have, and be a sport. Rent the honeymoon suite.
Oh yeah.
So why not?
Why not?
Even if you ain't married,
Rekindle it.
Ray.
Dalton's
But
too
anyhow,
young to even
that's
worry
it.
about
No,
that.
anyhow,
Sort
do
of
it.
thing.
Be a sport, man. Don't be a stiff, man.
That's.
Take your wife out to the Avalon for the weekend.
You don't have to go away to get away.
That's
we
my
like
man.
To say around
That's
here. Am I right?
I love that. You ain't got to go away to get away.
Just get away.
That's got to be the catchphrase.
I know. I
Mike,
thought that
did
up.
you patent that?
thought that up
That's the
myself.
patent that right there.
Yeah.
Mike's got patent that for Avalon.
That's what
Inn.
I do.
You ain't got to go away to get away. I love that.
All right, Dalton Rosta's here. Am I saying that right, Rosta?
Yes,
And you're
Rosta.
from the Pittsburgh area.
I'm from Newcastle, PA. Pittsburgh
And
area,
you wrestled in
Yes.
high school and in college.
yes.
Then you transferred to Youngstown State.
Yes, I
And
did.
you played what there?
Football.
Played football there.
Who's the coach then?
Bo Pelini.
What was okay.
So
Both
recently.
coach. It was his first year
Not too long
that he
ago.
that he was
Okay.
coaching at Youngstown.
Okay, great.
And were you
Yep.
part of the ride to the national championship too?
No, that was the year after I got hurt, actually.
Okay, so you got hurt playing football at YSU and did not play anymore after that.
No.
How,
I
how
did
many
not.
games did you play before you got hurt, or did you play?
In
at
what
quick
position?
I played linebacker.
Okay.
I can see that. Yeah.
I got hurt right before Illinois State. It was, I think, 5 games into the season, I believe.
Were you starting?
No, I was not.
Okay.
I want to say the end of October, maybe the beginning of November is whenever I got hurt. I got into the doctor right away. We had our team doctor. Got an MRI done and had surgery on November 13th.
You were a freshman that year.
No, I was a sophomore.
What's
I
sophomore?
did my freshman year at Seton Hill University
gotcha.
in Greensburg, PA.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Why'd you switch? Why'd you go from wrestling? Like you're probably having a nice career at Seton Hill, and then you want to play college football? I mean, what was the thinking behind that?
I I was actually having a really good season at Seton Hill. I was 23-4 on the season.
Mhm.
3 of my 4 losses came to the same kid, so I only lost to 2 people that year. Really close matches every single time too. But I was having a really good season. I loved wrestling. I
Mhm.
love football. It was hard making my mind up in the first place as to what I wanted to do right after high school. Did I want to go play football? Did I want to wrestle? I didn't know. I was good at both. I mean, the reason I went with wrestling at first, I had a full ride.
Right, there you go.
Between academics and athletic
Very
scholarship,
important.
everything was paid for.
Very important.
So that's what I did initially, and I went to Seton Hill. I liked it on the visit. I liked my first couple of days there. I visited twice. I liked the people that I met, but after I got there, I started realizing a lot of things that I didn't like about the school, but I was going to tough it out. I loved wrestling. I was doing well. Thought I was in the right place. I was going to tough it out. And then me and the coach originally agreed on 197 pounds
The wrestling
for me to wrestle at. And at the time, I'm walking around at 215, 220 pounds. I wrestled my senior year at 170 in high school, but I was cutting from 200 after the season. You're restricting your growth when you're cutting weight.
That's
you're
right.
dehydrating
I know,
yourself,
especially
losing
when you're a
weight.
young man, like that, when you're a young man.
You're growing. I'm still
I
going
don't
through
agree.
puberty
Yes,
at the time,
yes,
still growing.
Yes.
Restricting my weight, and then after the season, I'm up to 200 pounds right away as soon as wrestling ends. Then next thing you know, over the next couple months, I start growing. I grow an inch in height. I put on some muscle mass. Next thing you know, I'm walking around in the summer at 220. Then I get to Seton Hill, and first time we do weigh-ins and everything, and to get our weights done, our hydration tests, everything else, I'm weighing like 218 pounds, and I start getting flipped out on right away by the coach, and I'm like,
Did he need someone to fit that spot? I mean, why didn't he just let you go up? You won
I was
20
gonna
some
say.
matches, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, and there was me, and I mean there was a couple people at 197, but I had a wrestle off with the 197 pounder, and I'll keep the name out of it, but I tech fought him at practice, which is kind of like the mercy rule for wrestling. It's you go up by 15 points, the ref stops it. So we had wrestle offs at practice for the spot, and I tech fought him, and after I tech fought him, I thought I had the spot at 197, but apparently when I got called into his office before practice one of the other days before the Clarion Open, the very first competition of the year, it's a Division I tournament. Apparently we were wrestling for 184, and I won the spot at 184 when I was under the impression that I won the spot for 197, and since I won the spot at 184, the kid that I beat went 197.
Well, how in the hell are you going to get down to 184?
You can't.
I did.
You
I
hurt
starved
yourself.
myself
You hurt
I
yourself.
starved
yourself.
myself. I was looking really
Not
really
healthy, man.
bad.
That's not
Like my
healthy.
body wasn't looking good. I was looking like a skeleton. It wasn't healthy at all.
No,
I
no,
could sit here and
no.
show you pictures and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but I'm not gonna do that. But it wasn't good. And over time, trying to hold that down when you wrestle on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then you wrestle again on a Friday or a Saturday, you have to hold that. It's not like I'm cutting weight for one fight.
Right.
And then I make weight at 185. The next thing you know, the next day I'm back up to 215
Right.
pounds after you rehydrate
Right.
and everything. And then you get to hold that weight for 3 months. You get to walk around at that weight for 3 months before you have to cut again. With wrestling, you have to stay at 184 the entire season. Like I can't go up more than 10 pounds
long
if I want to
season.
lose. Yeah, if I weigh in on Tuesday at 184, I wrestle and I'm wrestling again on Friday. That gives me 3 days to get back down to 184 if I let my weight go up
Right.
a little bit too much.
And
So
that's what if you have a couple glasses of water. Like for me,
Yeah.
when I was 100, when I was fighting 135, last year and a half, my career I couldn't make weight. People said, "Why don't you move up?" I got the title, man. I'm not gonna give it up on the scale. But people said, "Well," and you know as well as I do. I used to get out of the gym 130. I had 4% body fat. I had nowhere to lose it. So that's what I think you're talking about. These guys have nowhere to lose it. But you drink a glass of water, and all of a sudden I weigh at 134. I drink a glass of water. I'm 136 and a half. Oh, how'd that happen, man? Because your body absorbs it. It needs it. So that's what he said. You a couple glasses of water, now you're 4 or 5 pounds over. And people, well, you could just lose the water weight. No, because your body needs it. You're breaking your body down, and you're really tearing your body down. And really, it's not healthy. It could be fatal if you take it to the extreme. But I'm just saying. So I know what these young guys go. That's why I say I'm not a fan of wrestling in that respect. College or high school wrestling. if you can make the weight. If you can't, you got to move up or let him move up because and even I know what you're saying. There's different guys at different weight classes in the team.
And if they're not as successful, they're not successful.
No,
You can't help
but
if
you're
a
hurting
kid's
them.
growing.
You can't break these kids down like that.
Yeah, his impression or his opinion on the matter of me going 184 is the coach thought I would do better at 184. He thought I would have been a small 197 pounder.
But stronger at 184.
Yeah.
Well,
but at the
which
same
is
time,
probably
we're
true,
not.
but
Yeah, but at the
hey,
same
you'd also
time,
be a
If
great
you can make weight.
135 pounder too.
Yeah,
if you
but
can make that.
If you
Yeah.
can make weight,
You know?
exactly. What difference does it make? If you can't make weight, it doesn't matter what he would be better at.
It's like at what point does it start becoming a weight losing competition?
That's right.
Like a weight loss competition. I'm here to wrestle. I'm not here to compete with everybody on how much weight I'm losing.
Yeah.
Like, for one, he made the comment that like he thought I would be a small 197 pounder. He's pulling up pictures of 184 pounders, like the top 3 ranked kids in the nation at my weight class 184, showing me they're all jacked, upstairs and everything.
Sure.
But then you look at their legs, and
They're like mine.
They're built like chickens, and it's like you're looking at these guys' arms. You're fascinated with how they're built,
Right.
instead of how they're wrestling.
Or
People are
proportion
too-
too, right?
Yeah.
It's like, not to change it, and I want to break guys in MMA. A lot of guys are slender, like Hoist Gracie, but the proportion everywhere, and they're beasts in there, man.
Yeah.
So I get why you changed schools, but I'm not sure why you changed sports. I mean, especially as successful as you were.
Well, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's saying he wasn't as successful in the wrestling because of.
No, I still believe in my heart if I would have stayed at Seton Hill, I would have won an NCAA championship. But I wasn't happy there doing it. That's why I ended up leaving. That's the point I was.
That I
getting to.
get, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure why you didn't just go somewhere else and wrestle.
Yeah. See,
Does Youngstown
that
State
was-
have a wrestling team?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But that was an option. Me and my dad, like, after like honestly a month of being there, like me and my dad were already talking about like, all right, where should we start looking into? Who's my dad gonna contact on where I should wrestle, where I should play football? We're trying to decide which sport do I want to play. And at the point, I'm at the point where like I'm not happy at Seton Hill, and I'm cutting all this weight, and like the coach kind of made me hate it. Not just the school.
Now you're hating your sport.
He made me think I hated the sport. Like I developed such like a bad attitude about it, and like felt like I was being manipulated so bad that, and I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, poor me, boo-hoo,
No, I
boo-hoo.
get
That's not what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Looking back on it, I can see the points he was making, but like I said, it's if you're gonna be sitting there fascinated on somebody's build in a sport like wrestling, when your build has nothing to do with it. People get psyched out when they look at somebody. They're like, wow, that guy's really jacked. He's gonna beat me.
Sure.
So that's not how you got to look at it in wrestling. It's about technique. Who works harder? Who put in the most work?
Technique is
Who paid
everything.
attention to the smallest details? I would have done better at 197 pounds just because I wouldn't have to worry about losing weight. At practice, I was worried about getting down in weight instead of getting better.
You know, Dallas, I'm sorry. What I was saying is, it's funny because last year and a half of my career, I was telling people I had 2 opponents. First, my weight. And once I knew I was able to make weight, which was killing me, do it. Then I worried about the guy I was going to fight. That's you
That's a lot to
watch
think
it,
about.
but you're watching the guy train. You know how he's trained, what you got to do in there. But if my body's not feeling it because I can't make weight, I'm killing it. But it was but I said I worked hard, I was training hard, and you're trying to proportion where you can make weight at the right time, so I'm still be at full strength. But you're worried about making weight more than you're worried about the opponent.
Yep, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. You're wearing 2 and 3 layers of clothes at practice, sweat out 10, 11, 12 pounds of practice in college. A lot of that, and I wasn't even the worst fit. I can't even complain. I know a lot of other wrestlers, maybe not at my school, but I know of a lot of wrestlers that cut.
If you've ever
20
seen a
pounds.
college wrestling practice, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and
it
I was
is.
at a Division III school, and those guys are nuts.
Yeah.
But they love it.
Yep.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
All right, so now you're 7-0 as an amateur. You're number 1 ranked amateur before you turn pro.
Yes.
In the Midwest, the Northeast, and in Ohio, and in Pennsylvania too.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so but you also do some boxing too.
Yes.
So if you, let's say I introduced you to Ray for the first time.
Yes.
And he says, well, what do
Which
you
you
do?
did.
Well, yeah. What do you do for a living? Would you say I'm a boxer, or am I an MMA fighter, or what would you tell him? You have trouble making a decision, don't you? I saw with this football wrestling thing. Now it's the boxing MMA. I'm just teasing. But
No, it's not. I mean, I'm an MMA fighter.
you are for
So,
sure.
yes,
That's your thing.
I'm not a boxer. I'm an MMA fighter. I love boxing. I love fighting. I love MMA. I love wrestling. I love all combat sports.
Combat sports.
Yeah,
This is good to see
I
you love that.
love it all. But I'm an MMA fighter.
You are.
Yes.
But you've done boxing.
Yes,
and
I've
you've
done
had
boxing.
and you've had professional and just amateur fights.
Just amateur fights.
And you were undefeated as an amateur, correct?
Yes, I was undefeated as an amateur MMA fighter and as an amateur boxer.
What weight boxing?
201 minus.
Okay,
I
happy-
fought once at 201 plus. It was my most recent boxing match. It was for WFC in Washington, PA. It was what's the
Washington,
casino
PA?
down there?
Well, I know it.
Meadows.
The Meadows Casino.
Okay, you know better than me.
Yeah, it was at the Meadows Casino. I fought a
It's
heavyweight.
sad that I know that, but go ahead.
I fought a heavyweight. He came in at like 250 pounds, and I weighed in at like 201.
Uh-huh.
And that was my last fight, and I ended up knocking him out in the second round.
So is there one? Did you pick MMA because you like it better, or because you're better at it, or it just kind of transitioned that direction?
Well, like I said, I love them all, but I love MMA the most.
You feel like that's
and
the highest
Because
ceiling
you
for
can use
you?
both skills. There's wrestling skill. I was
Yeah.
Well,
can't
three
use that
skills,
in boxing.
right? Wrestling, MMA, and boxing all
well,
kind of
MMA,
together.
No, MMA is what boxing and wrestling are part of MMA. They're
Yeah.
mixed martial arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So boxing, MMA, or Muay Thai, all them things are part of MMA. So you can use your wrestling skills as well as your boxing skills. So it would benefit you.
Huge advantage, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Because when it
and-
gets to the ground, that's a totally different technique.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And MMA, you have a lot more weapons when it comes to actual fight. You got elbows, knees, kicks. You got your hands. You got wrestling. You got submissions. You got your jiu-jitsu. You got everything. Like I said, I love the sport of MMA, but I wrestled pretty much my whole life. I started boxing on and off whenever I was 12 years old. Whenever I was younger, I was dabbling in and out of jiu-jitsu. So, like, whenever I got to this point where I was done with football after my sophomore year at Youngstown, it's like, all right, I've been training this stuff for too long. I mean, I already love the sport, but I've been doing all of this for so long. I'm already so good at it. Why not use it? So I started training MMA again, and I just took to it really quickly. I got good fast. I worked really hard, training 2-3 times a day, sometimes 4. And
That's my ask. Now you say 2-3 times, sometimes. What were you been doing at different times? Like a lot of times, fighters. I train
Can you
twice. a
train
day.
too much?
Well, yeah,
Is that what you're
absolutely,
saying?
absolutely.
Yes, you
And
can.
out there, and so many of these fighters are doing that. Boxers, I don't know MMA guys. When I was fighting, you do row work in the morning, train in the afternoon,
That's it.
rest. So now the guys go strength training. So the guys would say, well, so they go do row work, and then they go do strength. I said, well, see, I did some strength training, different things, but you do it instead of row work. So days you lay off the road, sometimes I go to do pool work. It wasn't swimming, but you just throw punches in the water, and different type of, but it's just different type of work. But so you don't overtrain. You mix it up. Your body needs to be challenged. So you do row work. So I do different type. Or I'd go to the hills and push, tree logs up a hill and, stuff like that. And do stuff like that and carrying sandbags on my back going up the hills. But it's different, it's a different type of training, but it's still
that
endurance
muscle
work. But
confusion
you didn't do
or
it all.
whatever it is?
Exactly. I didn't do it all. I didn't do the row work and then do the sandbags in the hill and then do boxing. No. And these guys are doing that. And I don't understand that, to be honest with you. People always say to me, did you ever, real fast, I'll go back to you. I'm sorry, Don. People say, did you have a strength coach? I said, yes. Did you have a conditioning coach? Yes. Did you have a nutritionist? Yes. Did you have a masseuse? Yes. Happened to be the same guy.
You're right.
One guy, my
Okay.
trainer, who did it all. Because if you've got one guy supposed to know your body, he's got to be in tune with your body. Nowadays, how can your trainer be in tune with who you, if you're peaking at the right time, when you got other guys doing the stuff? That's what I don't get. But anyhow,
So all right, so you're pushing yourself.
yeah.
Do you give yourself ample time to rest? You think,
Oh yeah.
or you
I
just
mean,
love it so much you just want to do it?
This is how I look at it. I try to go for as long as I can, and as hard as I can, for as long as my body will allow. So, I mean, just my first rest day in the past 2 weeks was just on Thursday. like this past Thursday. I went 12 days in a row without rest.
What'd you do?
2 and 3 times a day.
Netflix all day or what?
Uh,
Binge watch?
I don't even remember, honestly.
Really?
I don't remember. I get so bored whenever I take an off day that I don't know what to do with myself. And like I said,
Just
I've
rest.
training
That's what
2,
you do.
3, sometimes 4. It's rare now that I train 4 times a day because I try not to overtrain, and I experienced
And it
a
happens.
lot
He's
of
worried
problems.
about you. I can tell he's
No,
worried
no,
about you right
absolutely.
away.
I
can.
experienced a lot of problems with it, but some days, depending on how I'm feeling, I will do 4.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, it's 3.
Okay.
Sometimes 2 if I'm trying to tone it down a little bit.
But what is it
But-
3 times? What does that
Yeah,
consist
what
of?
are you doing?
I have strength and conditioning with Molnar Health and Functional Training.
That in the morning? That's
Yeah,
first thing in the
early
morning?
And then I have jujitsu, either in Monaca at Armazzani Jiu-Jitsu Academy or at the Mat Factory in Lower Borough. Then at night, I either have boxing at the Downtown Boxing Club on Phelps Street in Youngstown or Muay Thai in Newcastle with Chris Pappas. So
Nice.
How much do? Oh, go ahead.
Who's the trainer downtown Youngstown for them downtown boxing?
Sam Calderon is my
Oh,
trainer.
Sammy comes in. Okay.
Do those martial arts type classes, the jujitsu and the other stuff, does that help your mind as much as it helps your body? To me, it would. I don't know what it is because I've never taken a jujitsu class. God forbid, I'd die. But I would think it's a discipline where it calms what's in your head a little bit too. But you guys tell me, is that how it is, or is it just nonstop technique and you're going?
That's the way that's the way I treat it. The latter of the two.
Yeah.
So I go in there and try to work as hard as I can every day. You know,
and
that's
it ain't
my
yoga,
attitude.
Mike. It's not yoga.
I understand.
It's that-
Yeah.
I understand.
But if you're an athlete, it's different. You know, and I understand. He's a wrestler. I did jiu-jitsu for 13 years, and I did it just as a new form of discipline for me.
Uh-huh.
So I don't want no 18-year-old kid choking me out in the street. I wasn't looking to compete. That's the only reason I did. That's true. It's just self-defense. But I didn't love it. I liked it, and I wish I had loved it. I know guys who love it. I don't. I didn't. My body felt too good. I get, guys tweaking my arms. I was coming up. Guys, you get banged around pretty good.
Huh.
But I did it. I feel like I have a new sense. So if God forbid something happened in the street, I think I can use jiu-jitsu, obviously. But that's what it is, strictly for the street, as far as I'm concerned, for me. But but your body you got to have I wish I loved it, but I did. But you got to have a certain discipline. You got to have the mindset for it, man. And I think I was too far. I was too far gone. I said, man, I'm not that ambitious.
If you want me to be completely honest, my coaches probably won't want to hear this or see this, but jiu-jitsu is probably my least favorite out of all the martial arts. I love wrestling. Wrestling's my favorite. But when it comes to MMA, I just like knocking people out.
No.
I'm being
Well,
completely
if
honest
you've
with
done,
you.
if you could do
I
it,
want-
great.
Yeah, I just want to knock people
Well,
out. I want to put them to sleep. I
Dalton,
want
I
to put them
tell-
out cold.
Yeah.
I tell people you don't get paid anymore for the longer you go. People say, well, why aren't you worried about getting rounds? I said, I get paid the same whether it's 1 round or 10 rounds. I get
Right.
paid the same.
Right.
Same to you guys. Why would I worry about want to go 10? I'm every time you knock a guy out early, you're lengthening your career.
That's true. That's
course.
true. That's true. So now you signed to go pro
Yes.
with Bellator. Am I saying that one right?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. And how exciting was that day for you?
I've been talking with them for a few months. It was actually they got in contact with me right before my last amateur MMA fight, and it was kind of a waiting game, and there was a lot of back and forth. They were hard to get a hold of and stuff. Even they reached out to me first, but they were still hard to get a hold of back because they had so many fight shows going on. They had the Grand Prix, their tournaments and stuff, so they were really busy. And it was like a 5-month process. I actually signed the contract in January, but it wasn't announced until February. But I was really excited. I got emotional whenever I got the call because
of course.
this is everything I've been working for.
It's your next step in your goal, right?
Yes, this was my goal. So to make it to the big stage, and I want to win a world championship. So
There you go.
Do they do signing bonuses and things like that,
no,
or you
they
just
do-
sign the
I-
paper
I,
and
I
they're
don't
yours?
I don't have a signing bonus.
Or you're theirs.
Yeah. So I just get, it's just a typical fighting contract. I get paid per fight.
And they pick who you fight,
Yeah, but you got to agree to it.
right?
Generally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Right.
gonna agree
Yeah, but
to everybody they throw at me.
Right. I just heard it says
If they wanted to throw the freaking Bellator champ at me right now, I'd fight them.
See, I
I'm
love
being
that
dead
about
serious.
that.
Why
I love it.
not?
I mean it.
I'm
I believe
fighting.
it. But it's not the best. It's not the smartest decision.
No,
but I
no.
see he'd do it. No, I don't believe he would do it. And I believe you would.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
that-
mean,
you got that-
honestly, to be completely honest, I know I got to work my way up
Yeah.
and prove myself in the organization before I get to that point.
Yeah.
But I don't want to waste my time
No.
fighting the guys at the bottom right now.
I see.
I don't. I wanna get a couple fights to show them that I can compete with whoever they put in front of me, and then whoever they put in front of me.
But he talks
knock them
about
out.
experience all
Experience
the
is
time.
everything. Experience is everything as far as amateur and pro athletics. You don't want to be, again, overmatched because experience is everything, especially pro sports. I fought Alexander Arguello. He has 70-something fights. I had 20-something fights. I was winning after 12 rounds. But that's what he set the traps. And he said later on, and I heard it, and he wrote it in his book, and I heard him doing an interview. He said, I knew Mancini only went 12. He said I was a 50-round fighter, and he would never been that distance. So he said, I waited to the later rounds, take him in the later rounds to go to work him. And he was succeeded. But after that fight, I said, I know I'll be world champion now. But I thought I would be world champion. I thought it would be too much for him. But experience took over. Is my point. And you don't want to get to that point. Well, I'll lose just because they gain experience. You want to gain experience every fight, but you want to go into it, give yourself the right shot to win. And I had the right shot against Aguayo, but it didn't result experience won. So I'm a big fan of experience. You don't push to it, but don't hold you back either. I always tell, turn the guy loose. You get fight, turn this guy loose. So there's that balance that you have to have, your manager or your team, whoever that is, to not overmatch you, but give you the matches that are going to take you to the next level.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Everybody should get some experience at first, but I truly know what I'm capable of, and if I had the opportunity to jump in there with Ryan Bader right now, the light heavyweight champ in Bellator, I know I could beat him. And I know there's going to be people out there laughing
That's half
at
the
me,
battle. That's half the battle,
laughing
don't you
at me
think?
for saying that, but I know I can. And like just with wrestling growing up, like I was always looking for the best possible guy to wrestle. I was traveling all across the state. My dad would freaking get 2 hours of sleep at night because he had to get up at 4 a.m. to go to work, and then he work a 12-hour day. And then as soon as he gets off, I'm walking out of wrestling practice. He's picking me up from wrestling practice. We're going to Reynolds High School over by Greenville.
Down the street?
Yeah, we're going to Du Bois, Pennsylvania. We're going to freaking Quest Wrestling Club down in Washington County, where he's sending me to wrestling camps, Ken Shurta wrestling camp, Bruce Baumgartner wrestling camp, Penn State wrestling camp, all these different places to wrestle the best possible competition that we could. He would literally look people up, like who's the state champ in this weight class, how many state championships they win.
And let's go
All right,
after.
three-time state champ, Cody Weirchalk. Let me give a call to their coach. Call their coach up. Hey, I got a kid, Dalton Rosta. He's looking to, my son. He's looking to wrestle the best competition possible. Is it all right if we can come down and get in the room with you guys? They said, yeah. Went down there, got beat up a little bit first couple times, but within a couple months, these guys are 3-time state champs. Like, you know, the highest you can get in high school, especially in Pennsylvania, and like I'm beating these guys. I'm taking them down at will now, and it took a couple months, and that's it. I kind of rose to the competition, the level of my competition.
right.
So I seek that. I
admire
want
that.
competition.
I
I
admire
want
that very
somebody
much.
to challenge me, and then I want to beat them.
I admire that. You got to admire that.
How often does an MMA fighter fight? How often would you like to fight? And don't say every week.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't want to fight
Okay.
every week because that'd be too much on my body. But I'd want to fight at the minimum every 2 months. Typically, for champs in the UFC, Bellator, you see them fighting twice a year. You know, you see
Right,
guys
that's
working their
different.
way
That's
up.
But when you get
see
to,
it-
Because you got to
when you get to
promote
a
it.
certain point now, on the way
Sure.
up, 6 fights here. Like I fought 12 times my first full year as a pro, but that's because you get early knockouts. You fight right away. I would say once you become a champion or a contender, 4 times a year is not 1 a quarter. That's not too much at all. So I could see 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
What's
in
harder
MMA, it's a
that-
lot, three or 4 times a year. That's what you typically see as a pro. But I would like to fight 5, 6 a year.
What's harder on your body, a bout or the training?
I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? A match
the training.
Or the training.
The training.
Right.
by
So that's
far.
what I'm
Fight's the
saying.
fun part.
Yeah.
That's
Fight's the
what I'm
fun part.
saying.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
why don't people fight a little more often then?
Well, they-
Because what they have to put their body through, going through
To
training
get to the
each
fight,
fight.
the
I
bout,
mean,
yeah.
and a lot of the times too, you see a lot of people out here. They ain't even trying to be a world champion. They just want to. They just
Yeah,
want
like
the fame or the
and,
money
right,
or whatever.
well,
They
right,
get to a
but-
place where they're comfortable, and they'll fight once. Get their paycheck. They think it's enough,
Right.
and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna take a vacation for a month, 2 months, whatever, and then I'm gonna fight whenever I want to. Like I just watched Dana White after the last UFC pay-per-view. He was saying, oh well, they were asking when is Tony Ferguson gonna fight. He was like, oh, whenever he wants to fight. I call these guys, ask them for a fight. If they're not ready for a fight, I don't have them fight. They'll call me when they're ready. That's the type of stuff that you get nowadays. Like people become complacent and they're okay where they are. They're satisfied. That's not me. And I know I'm not there yet. I'm not at the top of Bellator right now. So I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that said the same thing, that they wanted to fight every week if they possibly could.
Sure.
But I really mean that.
No, well, look, I'm sure there's people out there watching. Say, hey, if you got a guy, you're a heavyweight now, right?
I'm light
So light,
heavyweight,
Light
which is
heavyweight.
what weight?
205 pounds.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody out there light heavyweight? You got a guy. You got my man. Said he'll take anybody on. Give him a call.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
0
ready.
0.
But let,
You're
let, let,
undefeated.
let me ask
Yeah.
something real fast. We're coming down. People don't understand. A young man, how old are you now?
23.
God bless you. 23 years old, beginning of at the start of your life. You got the world ahead of you. The mental aspect. That's the fight game. I tell people, you could fight, I could fight. Okay, this is the game. Like in any sport, Mike. This is the game. How do you keep that hunger? What keeps you hungry, and what keeps you humble?
What keeps me hungry is just I've always had that competitive drive just to be the best at everything I possibly could be. But like with wrestling, that was what really sparked me. Like with wrestling, like it's just me and one other man on the mat. That's it. So I want to be better than every single person that stepped in front of me. And along with that, I seen how many people like put so much time into me. Like my dad, like I said, he was getting 2 hours of sleep at some nights because we were driving across the state just so I can wrestle with good competition. And he'd come back, get 2 hours of sleep while I'm sleeping on the way home, and he's probably
driving.
he's sleep deprived, and then he goes to work 2 hours later whenever he gets home. And then like my coaches, they put so much effort into me. They whenever I need to get an extra training session, I call them up. Hey, can we get together, hit some mitts? Can we get together a drill? Will you open the room for me so I can get some extra drilling in? And they will. They go out of their way to get me into the room. And it's like all these, especially my dad, like putting all the time that they did into me. I don't want to let that go to waste.
No, and you understand that, so you appreciate their effort, so you want to give them the best effort you got.
Yes.
Kind of admire that.
You've had some knee issues. It's not a secret. Like I'm telling your first opponent. Do you find, like, if I'm your opponent, let's say I am more experienced, let's say I'm a guy that's been around for a little while, do you find that they target it? I'm not saying they go
target my
Cobra
knee.
Kai, Karate Kid on you, but would they go after that sort of thing?
They probably will. They'll probably
Well,
start to try and kick me in my knee and everything. But then you start checking their kicks. They try to kick the inside of your knee. You just turn your knee in, and they kick your kneecap. They're done for the rest of the fight. They ain't gonna be able to put any pressure on that. So they can work out their game plan however they want to. But whenever you have something like that, people are gonna try and target it.
Sure.
So then you're kind of like counteracting their game plan from the start.
Look, if you ask, if I know I'm going on with an opponent who had a cut eye, training camp and got a little nick, I'm going after it, of course. So it's the same thing. Yeah, of course. They're gonna
So
go
you're
after
not
you.
worried. It doesn't sound like you're worried about it.
No, that's part of the deal. Part of the deal.
Okay. Very good.
You're going to attack their weaknesses. They're going to attack yours. But though, more anything. What we try to do here, what would you give any message you get young kids on the way up? Because I admire what you're saying, man. I love the fact you got that drive and the desire. And it's like anything. If you give a young kid out there who sees this, say, hey, I want to be like a Dalton, what message you giving them?
Well, I mean, I'm 23 years old.
You're a
still
baby.
a lot of people look at me as a kid still, and I have
You are.
one of the biggest opportunities of my life in front of me right now. I'm fighting for Bellator now at 23 years old. A lot of people work their entire life to get to where I am, and they don't make it.
Right.
So, and me coming from Newcastle, a small town from where I'm from, a lot of people don't think you're gonna make it out of there. It's kind of like the standard. Like it's like you're not expected to.
Well, let me just say, when I said I wanted to be world champion, coming out of Youngstown, though it's a little bigger town, people looked at me and
Probably
they
laughed.
laughed. Yeah, of course they did. And I used to say, that's okay. You're the same people. So when I said, you'll be the same guy who said I wouldn't be, I played football, basketball. You say, you're the guy, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. Everything they said, that's all right. You laugh. We'll see. So when I became world champion, and people said, Boom, did you really think you'd become world champion? I said, yeah, man, because I used to dream about it. I have these dreams. But it was out to the motivation. A lot of guys, young kids, you're never going to make it. You're never going to do this. You do small. You do that. You do this. You do that. Oh man, maybe they're right. Oh my God, man, I can't. Guys listen to their coaches, and that's why I'm not a big fan of high school coaches because I see what they try to do to my kid. And I had, as we said, high school. I had an outing, and I think I might have told us at one of our early shows. I had a fallout with my son's basketball coach, and I said, look, my kid was leader of the team. I said, but you got to break his spirit. You can't. He's got more character than you and all your coaches put together. You can't break my kid. And that bothers you. Because high school kids will try to, high school coaches, will try to do it. But you can't break a kid when he's got too much character. And that's why I try to say, if you got that character, enough internal test fortitude, you're going to overcome this. You're not going to let what people say or anything overcome that. All you need to believe is two people. I always tell my kids. Only two people got to believe in you. You got to believe it. That's one in yourself and one is God. So believe in God and yourself. And that's all you need. Don't matter what others say. As long as it's what you say. The old saying is, others can doubt you and you'll still succeed. But you can never ever doubt yourself and ever succeed. And that's the point. When you have self-doubt, that's the problem. Others doubt you. Prove this. I'm going to prove Mike wrong. And that's what I did my whole career. And that's when I got there. Did you really think you'd be champion? Yeah. Because everyone else said I wouldn't be.
Yeah, it's about.
Did you have some haters?
Oh yeah, I still get laughed at to this
Like what?
day.
What did they say?
Whenever I told people I was gonna have my first MMA fight, I had people saying that I wasn't gonna be any good, that I wasn't gonna win. I'm not an MMA fighter. I'm a wrestler. Like stuff like that. Like people look at wrestling. They don't think wrestlers are tough. They don't think like in a fight that you're gonna get double legged and taken to the ground. Like wrestling is very, very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Especially in MMA, you dictate where the fight goes. You're fighting a striker. They know you're a wrestler. They know they can't put together 4 or 5 punch combinations because they start throwing hooks. They throw that hook, you're right under it.
Right.
They step into you too much. They overextend. They're getting a double A shot on them. It's so hard to deal with. You dictate where the fight goes. If you're the better wrestler, you can take them down at will. If you're the better wrestler, they're a jiu-jitsu guy, and you don't want to go to the ground, you want to knock them out on their feet because you know you're a better striker, they're a better grappler than you. The grappler ain't going to be able to take you down if you don't want him to.
That's right.
So you have the defense and the offense, and it creates another aspect to it because then you start faking takedowns, coming up with overhand right. They start dropping their hands to try and stop your takedown. It just adds so much more to your fighting game. And, to kind of piggyback off what he was saying about, like, believing in yourself, that's really something that I want to talk about because, like, the key to is, like, actually believing in yourself. Like, you legitimately have to believe yourself. It has to become a conviction. Like, if somebody tells you that you can't do something and then you start questioning it yourself, you really don't believe in yourself. That stuff shouldn't affect you. If somebody comes and tells you that you aren't going to make it, you're not a good fighter, you're going to lose, and if you actually start questioning yourself, you really don't believe in yourself either. You don't. You have to really believe in yourself. And no matter what anybody says, you have to put your head down and just dig hard and just work your butt off. That's all there is to it. And like I said, the biggest thing is belief. And like I said, I had people that laughed at me. I didn't pay any attention to them. I believe in myself.
You can't.
It goes into like when you're a little kid, you have all these people, your parents, your teachers, everybody telling you you can do whatever you want in life.
They do.
Yeah. You do whatever you want in life. What do you want to be when you grow up? They'll actually ask you in the classroom. The teacher will go around, say, what's your goal in life? What's your dream? What do you want to be? And then they'll be like, I want to be president. I want to be the president of the United States. They're like, you can do that.
Go do
Believe
it.
in yourself. You can be the president. They say that. Next person, I want to be a doctor. Next person, I want to be a pro football player. Next person, now that fighting's becoming bigger with MMA, I want to be a pro MMA fighter. And this teacher's telling you, you can do that. Just set your mind to it. And then all of a sudden, that 5-year-old kid that's getting told that they could do whatever they want, whenever they're 12 years old, now you have people starting to tell you, oh, well, that's not realistic.
Right.
That's not realistic. You need to have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's not realistic. You want to be you want to be the president. The chances are like 1 in a billion. That's what they start telling you. But they told you to believe and told you could be anything you want whenever you're younger. That creativity that you have whenever you're younger, and that belief you have as a kid, and that everybody imposes on you from the start, and then they take away from you whenever you get older. That's what you need to keep throughout your entire life, throughout your entire career. And it really kills me how the same people that tell you that, as soon as your age changes, all it changes is a number as the years go by, and then it slowly starts getting stripped away from you.
Or you got to change your expectations.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you said that. You have a fallback plan. I did a commencement speech at high school last year. First thing I said, teachers hate it.
Yeah,
parents
nobody wants to hear it.
No.
As soon as you say no backup plan,
I said
everybody
no.
hates it.
I said don't have a backup plan. Don't have no fallback or backup plan. And my son, I've told my children this. And when they were asked after high school, well, you know, what do you want to be? And what's your fallback? I said, I don't have one. He said, what? I said, I don't have one. My father taught me not to have one. The counselor looked at me. I said, listen, don't hear him out. He said, my father told me if I have a fallback plan, I'll fall back. I have a backup plan, I'll back up. I don't plan on. Success cannot happen unless you believe it. I said, I have enough conviction and enough belief in my children that when things don't go as we expect them, sometimes life that happens, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. But if you have a backup, then you're not putting your full dedication into the plan A, because you already got plan B waiting for you. No, there is no plan B. Failure's not an option. You always hear these stories, but it's the truth. When I went to New York and they said to me, if you didn't succeed, one guy said to me, what would you have been? I said, I can't tell you that, because nothing else I wanted to be. If you didn't succeed, what would you have? Don't know, because I had planned on succeeding. And if it didn't, I would have figured it out then. Mm-hmm. And that's what I believe enough for my kids.
You get to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Plan B.
You're a smart kid. You'll figure it out then. But if you have nothing else, when they all say failure's not an option, it's God's truth. And that's just it. I wasn't coming home unless I was successful. I wasn't coming back.
Plan B distracts you from Plan A.
That's what they say. Do you have a fight set up?
March 29th, Temecula, California, Bellator 219.
Oh, Temecula's a great area.
You're going to California.
Great wine country.
Oh,
So
that's
that's
perfect for the MMA.
Oh, man. Great wine country, man. Temecula's got great wines.
Yeah,
But
Do you know who you're fighting?
Yeah, I'm fighting Cody Vital.
Okay.
It's at 205 pounds.
Cody Vital, where's he from?
He's from Temecula, California,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
Enemy
So-
territory.
Yeah, no.
That's the best.
But
What's his record?
1-1.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
He's beatable.
Yeah. Everybody's beatable.
Everybody's beatable, that's
Everybody's beatable.
Good for you.
On any day.
Yeah, everybody's beatable. That's why you got to bring your A game, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
No matter who it is.
How do you like this matchup, or does it really matter to you at all?
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. Like I said, they can put whoever they want in front of me, and I'm gonna fight them. The game plan is gonna be the same.
Right.
I mean, you gotta adjust and tweak your game plans, but I'm not changing the way I fight for anybody.
No.
I'm coming out and I'm going after you from bell to bell. You watch any of my fights, I'm on you the entire time. I'm in your face. I don't let you breathe.
There you go. That's
So,
it. You got,
that's-
that was kind of more. That's true emphasis stuff, my man. I admire that. Pressure fighter, pressure guy. Because you got to make things happen, right? So I gotta love that. I love that about you, man. I just met you, and I'm already excited for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I expect nothing but good things. I expect you to be a success no matter what you do because of your attitude. Attitude is everything in life, as we know. And you have a direction, and you have a conviction that of where you want to be and what you want to be. I love that about it, man.
I expect you to come back. You better come back.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
I don't care what championship belt you got. You better come back here. You don't big time us. All right.
Cody,
I'll come
pleasure,
back.
man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Dalton
you.
My pleasure.
Rosta.
Dalton, no, I said couldn't. Dalton.
Dalton Rosta.
He's fighting Cody.
Newcastle,
He's
PA.
fighting Cody, right?
Yep.
There was a couple guys out there. I remember a lot of fighters that were coming to the gym, and you hear these guys' names. And I'm just a couple of names, but I'm not familiar with. I didn't know the last name, so it wouldn't have helped.
No,
if I
I
you mentioned these guys now,
understand.
right?
All right.
Dalton,
Well,
good luck to you,
you.
my man.
I think
Good.
we think you're going to be fantastic, and we wouldn't have.
Well,
had
no
on
matter
the
what
show
you do,
today.
even if you know what's up, we're not talking about you're going to be successful in life.
Yep, that's what I mean.
We're not,
That's what I
career. I'm sure you will be in your career too. But I always when I tell people, you'll be successful in life because you got the right attitude and the right direction, and the right conviction. You got to be convicted to what you want. You can't talk about it, tap dance on it. This is what I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to succeed. After that, we'll figure out what else about life. But this is what life. You take life in small bites, and this is the best part of it right now.
Yeah, it is.
Got to marry, my brother. Got to marry that. God bless you, man.
Thank you.
You want to give that a go?
Oh yes. What are we talking? Oh, the package. What are we talking?
No, this.
Oh, we're doing a commercial.
Do you want to do it? No, it's for us. It's a commercial for us.
It's a commercial for us. So I can read this.
Yeah,
Oh, I
just read
thought my man Ron always told me I had to memorize
Slides
it.
it in there.
Ron,
Well,
my
good.
man,
Would you
don't I
rather
gotta memorize?
memorize?
I can read this.
All right.
Okay,
go ahead.
so we're doing this as a unison, or we just
No,
doing
you go ahead.
Okay.
Talk. This is how people can watch the podcast.
Here's how you reach the. Yes, just what he said.
It's kind of important.
Oh God. Okay. Oh,
You
we're gonna
wanna
do it
right
after.
now? No, I want to do it right now. Can't we do it right now? Go ahead. Let's see.
I'm gonna read it, then we're gonna do it after for.
He's an
for
avid
fun.
reader.
Here's we go. Hey there. I love this. Hey there.
Oh, this is our little commercial too. All
Yeah.
right, go ahead.
Hey there.
Uh-huh. That'll be you.
Be sure to join in our weekly podcast.
Uh-huh.
Look for Ray's Boom Boom Room on Facebook. Like and follow.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe to Ray's Boom Boom Room on Apple or Google Podcasts for audio versions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to listen afterwards, you gotta
Yeah, subscribe. You got
Apple
to
or
subscribe.
Google- yes, thank you. Yes. For live streaming video and previous episodes, look for Ray's Boom Boom Room on YouTube. Subscribe and click the notifications bell. That'd probably help. You never know. Yeah. You never know what we'll wind up talking about, but it's always interesting and insightful. And don't forget entertaining, man. Because if we ain't entertaining, I ain't doing it.
That's it. That's it.
So,
All right. You feel good
how was
about
that?
it?
Was
Yeah.
that?
Did he sell that or what?
Yeah, you
I mean, it made you want to
No,
sign
don't,
up.
we're gonna have to redo this when you're gone.
Nah, it
Trust
was
me.
good. It was good.
Anyhow,
I think that's more genuine.
yes. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's round of the Ray's Boom Boom Room. Our friend Dalton. Look, what we try is bring young, up and coming guys in all walks of life. Who all I love meeting young men like yourself who have ambition, dreams, and goals, and we want to give people some food for thought. We want to be, brain food, man. That's what we want to be. So you listen to this young man, you see how his dream. He has his dreams. You hear his dreams, his goals, aspirations, but he tells you how he's going to achieve them, not just pie in the sky. How he's doing it, training 3-4 times, going to different ways of training. The cardio, got the strength, you got all this stuff. You're hearing what he's doing, how he's dedicated himself to this, and you got to admire that. So look, I'm a fan of this guy, and I just met him. I'm a fan because I admire what he wants to achieve in life. So I'm a fan of this young man as a person, not only as a fighter. So these are the things we're trying to get for you. So if you have any food for thought, any things that you would like to tell us, please hit us up on Facebook, YouTube Live, and let us know your thoughts. And hopefully we'll try to clarify that, rectify that on the next show or in future shows. Dalton, again, thank you very much. Anything you'd like to say lastly?
Thank you for having me on the show. It's
Can we
an
watch
honor.
your